Hmm? Fancy. Mm-hmm. Well, that won't matter. I'm just putting the cart. Yeah, I need to move it over. Right. have to do that with a chart. It shouldn't be doing that. Oh, it's just this kayak cart taking a piss. Need to tighten it back up again. What? Oh, a bit more. Good for them. I'm really worried about other people saving. Another biker using the road like a racetrack. It's a straight piece of road. Another biker using the road like a racetrack. It's straight. I got close. What now, woman? What? Alright. Nothing stopping you. Save your battery till you're doing it the slide. Yeah, because mine's alive. Well, yeah, but don't point your camera directly into sunlight and you'll damage it. The joys of making live, guys. What? Ah, you can go down that way. Yeah. Ah, thank you. Didn't do it. Kayaking. have to take it slow with a small kayak or cruise with a wheel. Loving the kayak maximum, but the D-style cart didn't have that problem because it's higher. It means it's a non-collapsible cart that takes up enough space and their weight in the kayak. And because it's a flexible kayak cart, you have to be real careful taking it up and down tubs because it can collapse without warning. And you don't have that problem with a D-style cart. If somebody hit the traffic light, probably. Down the back guys. Hopefully the tide will be not too bad. I won't feel any wind. Hopefully my lee pad will be flat cam or no far off it. I'm doing the Clyde Dock, and my mate Davy's Danish Live, and David and Milo Pianos on YouTube. So he's Danish Live, playing some tunes on his new bass guitar and piano. You can always pop over and say hi. It'll take a couple of minutes to walk down to the house. sensitive, but it's the tide coming in. Judging by the flow, the flow's heading towards Glasgow. Tide coming in. And it's in between high and low tide just now. I hate that rubbing noise of friggin' kayak cart. I'm taking out the inflatable, I just need to use a D-style because the C-style collapsible, when the kayak's flexing, it's doing a wee bit of rubbing, which I don't like. If this is an inflatable, I don't want the hull to be rubbed at all by anything. Yep. I'll leave the kayak cart with you. What? Yeah. Yeah, when you're heading anywhere, you can bring it back to the dock. Don't leave anything unattended on the dock, Susan. I'll put it here. I'm just messing about here, Susan. I'm not going far. Yeah. Yeah, we know. You can still do both. Yeah, flat camera where you want it. What? Yeah, it's pumped properly. It's got more PSI in it than normal because I used the electric pump. It's plugged into the wall. Remember guys, keep away from that platform because it moves. It's tidal. And don't go anywhere near the edge because you've got no life jacket on. Don't sit on that. That moves. That whole deck moves. Stand next to where my trolley is. And don't touch that. Because if you get any part of your limbs trapped on it, it'll take it off within seconds. So be very careful where you put your feet and be very careful where you put your body. Because this dock is moving constantly. Susan, you take things for granted on this dock, you start losing limbs. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. And it's not a pretty sight. So be careful. You stand in the middle and stay where they two bollards are. That's the only two places you can stand safely on that dock. Oh, Jory, the people for granted until shit happens. Watch that edge, Susan, are you going to go for a swim? Yeah, because there's a hole there. Yeah, that whole part of the deck's rotten because of that hole. Hopefully you guys can see us here. We're kayaking on the River Clyde. This gives you a good view. Right. Hopefully this gives you a good view, guys. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the live. I'm just out for a paddle. aircraft taking off from Glasgow Airport. So I'm just out for a paddle in the Clyde. Hopefully the angle's not too bad for you guys. That's a joy. It's a sunny day out in the Clyde. No far off Flat Cam. It's not a bad day, guys. Look at the camera angle, not too bad for you guys. I'm out in the river Clyde. Having a wee paddle. paddle in the glade. That's the Titan crane. Somebody's trash. Yeah, I'm still alive. I'm no dead yet. Cancel the party. Aye. Subscribe to the channel and you'll see me doing a lot of mad shit. I stood right underneath your feet in the underground factory. You go in that corner there where they built the QE2, you can walk right under where your feet are. Yep. It's part of the underground factory of John Brown Shipyard. You can only get to it by boat. You can't get to it for the surface. You have to go up to that corner, or that corner there, and walk under the walkway, and then walk under your feet, because the underground factory is below you. It was part of John Brown's during the war. Even though they took the factory away for the surface, all the underground stuff's still here. Alright. Aye, well, underneath your feet is part of the underground shipyard for John Brown's. The factory was built on 2 levels. One was surface and the other one was underground. Because when the Germans bombed Clydebank during the Blitz, the factory was built underground. So if the surface got hit, you still had the factory underground making stuff. Everything's all underground. All they did was take away the surface buildings, but everything under your feet's still here. This whole area was John Brown's shipyard. Where you're standing's the old, where the QE2 was built. Yeah. That bollard there is where the dry dock doors used to cover this entire bay, because this was a dry dock. But when they shut the yard down, they took away the doors. So it's now open to tide. Yeah. Oh, well, there's underground factory works in all the shipyards along the Clyde. Right. There's a lot of stuff underneath your feet you don't even know is there. And it's same with all the underground mines. That's right. Aye. Yeah. Aye, the Clyde Tunnel's been there since the 1900s. Aye, they dredged the Clyde because at Canary Wharf, just at the Squinty Bridge in Glasgow, you used to be able to walk like right across there. The surface of the water was only 4 feet in depth, but when they dredged it during the war, they made the channel 50 feet. Right? Yeah, that train could lift 200 tons in its day. And it's the only crane left on the Clyde. Yep. This whole yard was full of cranes. Yep. Yeah, when Maggie Thatcher came into power, she destroyed the shipping industry completely. Labour and Conservatives have done nothing but destroy the country for the past 40 years. You'll never get back what we had. All our industry is all destroyed. Our coal industry, our steel industry, our shipyard building capacity. We were #1 in the world, bar America. And well, I'm ex-military myself. I was a Royal Marine. Alright. It was Bravo Company. Yeah. Well, the way Starmer's carrying on, he's bringing back national service. Alright. Well, all these guys that are coming here on the boats, they're all national service trained. Because every one of the countries they come from have national service. So you're 16 and you're 18. Aye, every armed forces has a mandatory 3-year minimum national service. Tell me about it. Yeah. Tell me about it. Yep. It's mental. I'm just fucking scooting about. Well, I've got the inflatable and I've got the proper sea kayaks, which I fill up with my camping gear. I sometimes put the 2 kayaks together with a steel frame and then put a trolling motor in the middle with 200 amp hour batteries. Mm-hmm. Aye. Get yourself an inflatable and come out in the Clyde. Aye. Aye, 'cause the Clyde and Forth Canal is 136 mile long. It goes from the west coast to the east coast. 133 mile. Aye. Aye, get yourself a GoPro and a helmet. Stick the GoPro in the helmet, get yourself an inflatable and go out in the canal. Hmm. Well, this one was at a go outdoors with a card. I think it was 80 quid. And the two man with a card is like 120 for two men. So if you get the two kayaks, you can put all your camping gear in one, the two man, and you can tow it with the one man. Or you can put two people in the two man and put all your camping gear in the one man and just tow it behind you. Aye. The inflatable kayak you can't do fishing with because you'll bust it. It's for short, quick trips. But your hard shell hull, go to Lomo kayaks, you'll get the Lomo fishing kayak. It's 10 feet and you can stick an outboard motor, 2-horse on it, or a trolling motor with a 50 amp hour battery. Well, I did a deal with Lomo in Glasgow. I motorised their 10-foot fishing kayak with my own DIY motor mount with a T24 water snake, and I used a Minn Kota 36 pound thrust with a 50 amp hour lead acid battery. And they've never had their kayaks motorised before, and I says, well, I've put a side mount on the two back fishing rod holders, and then I used two steel rods that were the size of a kayak paddle, and I used 4x2 by 6 foot long wooden batten, and then I used two U-clamps and drilled through it, put the clamps through the wood and on the two metal poles, and then used a ratchet strap round the hull, and then just put the trolling motor on the side of the hull and put the trolling motor at a 45-degree angle to move forward at 2 miles an hour. And then Lomo was like that, we've never had our kayaks motorised before. And I says, well, I've done it. And I says to them, well, if I patent and patent the trolling motor mount on your kayak, you can then sell my trolling motor mount on your kayak. And Lomo said, we'll get back to you on that, because it was a world's first. And Lomo's been monitoring my channel, Adventure Guy Simon UK, every time I'm out in the kayak to see what I'm doing. Because even Lomo themselves have passed comment on my videos saying they like what they're seeing, for everybody to see. I used the eYoYo underwater fishing camera with a green light fishing light for night fishing. Put the green light in the water and that'll draw the microplankton draw in the bait fish, and then that draws in the big fish, and then you fish outside the light circle underneath the boat, because the big fish sit in the dark, whereas the wee fish come into the light and then they start circling round about it. It takes 3 hours for it to start, but once it starts, that's it. And you can put a light on the front and a light on the back and allow a gap in the middle so that the fish have a way to get away from the big fish, because it starts a feeding frenzy and it draws in the shrimps as well. So if you put out a shrimp net, you can catch the shrimp in between the two lights, because they'll go in between the lights and swim in the middle, but they'll not swim round it, they'll swim round about them, and then you can catch the shrimp in the net on the far side and then bait your hook with live shrimp, and then you're catching fish all night. Because If you go to that dock there, there's a school of fish that sit 6 feet off the bottom. Aye, the fish sit right under that dock all year round, 10 feet off the bottom. Aye, no boy. Keep away from that part of the deck, it's rotten. Step back, you'll fall straight through. Go to that middle pillar and stand there, because that bit of the deck's unsecure with the young ones destroying it. And a few people have fell straight through it. Aye, here's fine. Just remember that whole dock moves. Yeah, I'm just doing some kayaking, doing a live stream. So say hi to YouTube. Adventure Guy Simon UK. You'll get us doing paragliding, motorised bicycles, petrol. Yeah, petrol bicycle. Yeah, I passed you a few times down here. Adventure Guy Simon UK on YouTube. You'll see us doing a live stream right now. So I'm live just now. Yeah, I'm live streaming right now. Aye. That's live. That's what you're getting from a live stream right now. What? Yeah, it's because of the camera angle, it keeps moving. Plus it's in the mobile phone case, so the camera angle's no 100%. Yeah, it's because of the camera angle in the case, so it makes it a bit shit. But at least you can watch the video, and it's live. So you're seeing everything in real time. Use the same setup when I'm doing the motorised bicycles. Yeah. Yeah, I've been riding motorised bicycles for over 30 years. The petrol bikes were here first, and you don't need to worry about us going on fire without warning when you're charging the damn things or out riding them. Yeah, it's petrol. I'm 2 horsepower. I'm 100cc, and I'm the same power output as a Suron. I can do 65 miles an hour, no problem. And I'm type approval 7583, which predates the Road Traffic Act of 1988. And under L1A1, DVLA regulations on what a motorcycle is, unless you're pushing out 10 horsepower, you're not a motorcycle. And I'm 2 horsepower, so I'm 8 horsepower short of the minimum legal requirement, and the Suron's 9 horsepower, so it's still 1 horsepower short of the legal requirement. That's why they're not classed motorcycles. No, I just had to argue with a procurator fiscal and a sheriff at Dumbarton, and I says what you're doing is illegal. I've no lawyer, I've no legal aid, I'm entitled to legal aid, I'm unemployed, so I'm entitled to it. but I'm representing myself with no legal defence whatsoever. And I've got video evidence of what the police done. That video evidence was given to both the Procurator Fiscal and the police on the disclosure before the case started. And both the Procurator Fiscal and the police destroyed their copies. So when it came to the trial, they didn't have a copy. But I said, I've got my copy. So you've destroyed evidence to a court of law as a police officer and a Procurator Fiscal in a court of law. Now that's destruction of evidence in a court case. So if I'd done any of that, I'd have got 10 years shoved up my arse. But because you're police and because you're a Procurator Fiscal, you get away with it. Really? And you're allowing this, judge? And the judge was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I says, go on fucking YouTube and you'll see everybody in the world's commented on it. I've even had constables of your own courtroom come down the stairs for your very courtroom and say, I want one of them. When I put my bike against the courtroom wall and said, here's a motorcycle that doesn't exist. First things that the cops word was, I want one. It's been seen worldwide. And the reason they're giving electric bikes a hard time is because they're giving them to fucking kids. Class 1 regulations is for a 14-year-old accompanied by an adult with 250 watts to 15 miles an hour. And the only place you can use that is private land with the owner's permission. You're not allowed to use them anywhere else. You go into Glasgow or any major city, you can hire an e-bike or an e-scooter and the government will pay your insurance. You're a private owner of the same vehicle, can't get insurance, can't get tax, can't get MOT because it doesn't fucking exist. So as a private owner, you get penalised because you're no tax, insurance or MOT, which you can't get legally. But the council can get it because it's a government body. The police can get it because they're government servants. Yet a private owner gets penalised for something the government takes for granted and something the government can legally put into place, which makes their entire case unlawful. They've got no case to stand for. My lawyer told them, I'm representing my lawyer before it gets to the trial, but I'll not be representing him at trial due to the circumstances. And my lawyer told the judge, cancel the case because you've got no case to answer to. But they decided to go full circle. And then I says, by the way, constable, you destroyed evidence in a court of law and you're also committing perjury under oath. And the Procurator Fiscal is doing likewise. And the judge is doing fuck all about it. And that's exactly what I said to the judge. And he couldn't do anything about it because I was right. I says, look on my YouTube channel. You'll see the police using the same vehicle class as me. The only difference between a petrol motor and an electric motor is they're both motors. There is no difference bar the fuel source. A motor is a motor, petrol or electric. So if the police are using electric bicycles and I'm using a petrol electric bicycle, does that mean the police are using a motorcycle as well? Under the same concept they're using against me? How does that make sense when the DVLA clearly states there's a 350-page document what a motorcycle is and what an e-bike is? And under e-bike regulations we're exempt from the Road Traffic Act of 1988. So it means the police can't use it. Again, unlawful. And it's on my YouTube channel, and all the bikers run about here and no, they're not blurred, they're in focus. Alright pal, be safe. No, I use the GoPro. and put it on the head cam. If you go into my playlist, you'll see he's doing kayaking, you'll see he's doing paragliding, you'll see he's doing motorised bicycles, you'll see he's doing boats out in the Clyde, all from the head camera on the GoPro. And the GoPro's in a waterproof case, so the sound's a wee bit, muffled, but there's nothing wrong with the picture or the sound quality. You just put your mobile volume up. And it's in a waterproof case, so it's a little bit muffled. If it wasn't in a waterproof case, you would hear wind noise and you wouldn't hear any audio. That's just the way you got to record things. Well, just put it on the deck there. So if you look on the fishing videos, you'll see he's using different fishing techniques, using different cameras for underneath this deck. I built a DIY platform. I put a diving torch on it and a couple of cameras, and then I lowered the whole lot down to the seabed. And I used a bird feeder, filled it full of chicken, and then the crabs came up and started eating the chicken out of the bird feeder, and it was seen on camera. It's on my channel, all the videos are there. And I used the green fishing light as well. We put the green light in the water, it attracts microplankton, which then draws in bait fish, which swim round the light eating the microplankton, and then the big fish come in and start eating the bait fish. And it starts a feeding frenzy, but it takes a couple of hours for it to start. And you can only use it at night. It won't work during the day. It's for night only. Yeah? Yeah, there's hundreds of rats here, Susan. They live underneath the pier, and they swim in the water and climb up onto where you're standing. You'd be surprised what you're capable of when you put your mind to it. You'd be surprised what you're capable of doing, because I've got the sea kayaks, which are 15 feet long, and I've got the fishing kayak, which is 10 foot long, and I've also got the inflatable, and I've got the inflatable boats as well. So if you make arrangements ways, you can. I've got life jackets, so you can commit ways. Get yourself a GoPro, either head mount or chest mount it, and then you can make your own GoPro footage. And you can make your own channel and do the same things as I do. And then that's your own channel, doing your own stuff. But there's nothing stopping you coming up with me. At any time, you just need to make arrangements for it. And your safety is at your own risk. You're responsible for yourself. And that's just the way it is. The water temperature in here is just above freezing. So you'll be given 3 minutes to get to shore. Don't bother shouting for help, because that would drain you even more. If you're not out of this water in less than 3 minutes, hypothermia will set in 15. And remember, there's 10 miles an hour worth of current in here all the time. So you're fighting against 10 miles an hour, that's why I keep moving. Because this is tidal. Even though it's a river, as soon as you pass the Erskine Bridge, you're in the Atlantic Ocean, because that's where it starts. The Atlantic starts at the Erskine Bridge, and it's a river from Edinburgh to the Erskine Bridge. Yeah. Yeah, the Clyde goes straight across from the east coast to the west coast. And it also joins the Forth and Clyde Canal at Edinburgh and it also joins it at Stirling, and it also joins it at Bowling Harbour, which is 3 miles past the Erskine Bridge. It's used for fishing. It's used for fishing and boating. And you'll get the big vessels coming into the dock over there to take in the petrol, diesel and oil to the factories, because the lorries leave there every day full of fuel. So occasionally you'll get the fuel ships coming up with the tugs. Yeah, because it's it's mostly at night. The ferry stopped running as soon as that bridge opened, and it was the last ferry on the Clyde. They're gone, no existing anymore. Renfrew ferry stopped working as soon as that bridge opened. The Erskine Bridge ferry ceased working 6 months after the bridge was opened, and the ferry had been there for 200 years. And that was the last ferry at Yoker on the Clyde at all, and now it's gone, never to be back again. Yeah, now it's gone, never to return. The dock's still there, so it's open to anybody with a boat now. But the ferry's gone, never to return. That's a farm. Yeah, that's the drainage, because the river over there drains into there as well. Because that river goes up towards Glasgow Airport, and then it circles back behind that hill and comes out the other side. It's like a horseshoe. So that's storm water coming off the field and the hill. And you get Glasgow Airport just over there. So you can paddle from here straight up that river channel right towards Glasgow Airport runway. Yeah, you pass underneath the bridge and then you're right beside the runway. So if you pull up beside the runway, you can actually stand at the runway perimeter off the ramp, and you're facing the runway. So aircraft come and land and take off right in front of you, and then you can paddle back along here. You're only 3 miles from the airport. So there's a lot of things within close range of here. You get the canal up the, that goes straight to Bowling Harbour right into Edinburgh, and then you get the Clyde, and then you get the river estuaries that run into the Clyde. Just where the tall ship is. If you go up that channel at the tall ship, but at the Tall Ship Museum, it runs up the River Kelvin, and the waterfall's probably for the height of that platform to the water. Yeah, the last waterfall before you join the Clyde is the biggest waterfall on the Kelvin, and it's about 10 feet it's about 10 feet in height, and it probably runs about 45 miles an hour. So if you take off at the top of the Kelvin, you can jump the river in an inflatable by kayak or by Excursion 5, and you'll be able to jump the fall, and the fall's 10 feet tall. It's roughly about the height of that, straight to the water, and the water speed there is 45 miles an hour due to the fall itself. Yeah, because you've got to remember you're going down a 10-foot fall. So at the 10-foot fall, the water pressure goes up to 45 miles an hour. So when you go over that 10-foot drop, you're doing 45 miles an hour, and then you get 3 seconds before you impact on the water below. and then that water will push you forward about 20 feet, and then it'll go back to flat cam. Yeah, you've got to be careful on the Kelvin because there's a lot of weirs, and if you get stuck on a weir, the weir can draw you back in, pin you against the weir wall and sink you down to the bottom and drown you. So stay away from weirs on the Kelvin, they're deadly. You want to go anywhere near them, stay at least 20 feet away from the front of them and the back of them, because if you don't, it'll suck you back in and it'll drown you. A weir is deadly, and it's a hump where the water comes over, and as it goes over, it starts spinning like a washing machine. So it's unstable water, 10 feet right round about it, approaching it or passing it. You don't want to get stuck in there because it will sink you straight away. There's no water tension due to the deadly water underneath. It might look nice and safe, but as soon as you go in it, you'll never get out it. Even with a safety line, the chances of you getting out it are very slim to none at all. You'll be dead before you get pulled out. And most people can't hold their breath for any longer than 60 seconds. And then when panic starts setting in, that makes it 10 times worse. So that 60 seconds becomes 30 seconds because you're shitting yourself. If you start shitting yourself, you're going to make the whole situation worse, and you'll be destroying energy you don't have. So you don't panic. You stay calm as much as possible, because as soon as you panic, you're fucked. As soon as you take things for granted on the Clyde will kill you. It's not a place to play. You get 3 minutes to get out of the water. Yeah, because coming out of that storm drain about 30 miles an hour, and that's rainwater. That's rainwater collecting on that hillside. It collects in a storm drain, and then it flows out of that tunnel. That's just rainwater. But because it's on a gravity-fed slope, it comes out there at about 30 miles an hour. If you get anywhere near it, you'll get sucked under. So you don't want to get anywhere near that, because the water round about it for about 10 feet is all unstable. And if you get caught in a kayak or a boat anywhere near it, you'll lose paddling power, and chances are the boat will flip or it will sink due to the bubble saturation in the water. So anything gets near it stops floating, and you can't swim in it either. But that's just the way it goes. And 6 feet underneath your feet, there's a big school of fish that sit 10 feet off the seabed, the whole length of here. And the fish go for the length of your finger to the length of your arm, and they're all underneath this pier. Yep, I've seen them with a water bull camera. There's a school of fish that sit underneath every single pier, 10 feet off the bottom, 6 feet below the surface. You put a fish finder here, it will start bleeping because it's detecting fish underneath the dock. If you use the eYoYo fishing camera, you'll see it live on the screen on the end of the camera. Use a painting pole with a 45-degree head so that you can angle the painting pole, and you can turn the camera to where you want to see underneath your feet. Yeah, the water's clear, 3 feet off the seabed. But if you get on the seabed, you'll stir up the silt, and then you won't be able to see. No, it's not clear for the first 5 feet, and it's 7 feet below the surface before the light disappears. So you need man-made light if you go any lower than 10 feet, especially in the Clyde. and you'll see that on my videos. Yeah, 'cause I built the platform and I put it right where you're sitting, and I also took it into the Clyde Channel on the boat, the Excursion 5, and I've just flung it overboard, and I was able to see all the fish and the krill and the microplankton on the seabed, and then they started eating the chicken with the crab, because the crabs are all over the seabed. And if you get a bird feeder, empty the bird feed and then fill it with chicken, put the chicken on a rope and then put it on the seabed with a camera attached to it, you'll see the crabs coming to the bird feeder, and you'll see them eat the chicken out the bird feeder. You can either record it or you can get yourself a wee yo-yo underwater fishing camera. It looks like a wee makeup case, weighs about a bag of sugar, 150 quid. As soon as you open it, it gives you a live 7-inch screen, and the camera's connected to 50 feet of cable. Just put it in the water, and it's got a row of infrared lights, and it's got a row of white lights, so you can put the lights on if the water's dark or it's at night, and you can see clearly as if it was daylight, which is also in my videos. It shows you everything in action, and what you see is what the camera sees. The video is not that great, but you'll see it better with the naked eye than what it will be off a GoPro. And the battery lasts about 10 hours from a 1-2 hour charge, so it can last you up to a week worth of fishing, and you can put it in fresh water or salt water. Doesn't make any difference to the camera. Just be careful with the cable because it's less than the width. It's not even the thickness of a speaker cable, and it's 50 feet long, which is about 15 meters, and it's on a spool. You just wrap the camera on the spool. You get a painting pole with a 45-degree head on it, so that you can then angle the camera, and then you can turn the camera from left to right wherever you're filming, and you see it live, so you can record it from the screen from a GoPro or your mobile phone on a tripod, and then you can still make videos that way. I'll not get dark for another couple of hours yet. I'll get the night vision, the Nightfox Pro, which means I don't need any visible light because it's a digital Gen 1 night vision device. So I don't need to, I can be in complete darkness with no light whatsoever, and I can see perfect with the one eye, because it's a night vision. You can get the Nightfox Arctic, which is thermal. It can sit on the same bridge as your night vision. So one eye is night vision and your other eye is thermal. The whole setup is just short of $1,000. You're like 200 quid for the night vision. Aye. Yeah, I'll be heading up anyway soon. Yep. Are you heading up the road? Yeah? All about another hour. Yeah, I'll be leaving as it gets dark. Only 5 minutes up the road. The kayak cart's there on the balcony. That's the nav buoy, Susan, you're seeing. That's not a ship, that's a navigation buoy. Well, if you go into my playlist, you'll see us doing different things. Alright. Yeah, because it shows you what I've done. And I wouldn't post something that you weren't able to do. If you buy the same gear as me, you can do the same things as me. You're just at your own risk. So you're responsible for your own safety. You'll be surprised what you're capable of when you put your mind to something. Yeah, it's called a deadhead. Probably a full tree under that. If that strikes you, it could sink you. That's what you can see on the surface. It's like an iceberg. 90% of that's under the water, and that's probably a full grown tree. You can only see one branch. So if that hits you, it can kill you. Stay away from these kind of things. You don't go near any debris that's on the surface, because 90% of it's underneath the water. And you get full size trees in here, no problem. Not that long ago, on the ramp where they used to launch ships, there was half a tree on it next to the wall, but I don't know if it's still there. Yeah, that's why you get the eyelets and you get the anchor point, and you've also got the rope guard round the bottom of it, so if you fall in, it is working. Well, this gets used quite a lot, even me. I'm using it just now because I've got a boat here. Yeah, you can get yourself a kayak like mine from Go Outdoors. No, it's not for government, it's for everybody. All you need to do is obey the rules and the regulations of being out in a boat at night. Yeah. You get the Coast Guard every so often, and they'll come up and they'll ask you questions. But if you know the rules and the regulations, there isn't any problem. Yeah, I'm an unpowered vessel, so another vessel would need to get out of my way because I'm unpowered. I've got right of way, so no matter what size of vessel it is, I've got right of way. So it wouldn't make any difference because I've got right of way. I'm a paddle craft. I'm not motor powered, and vessels on the Clyde all have engines, so they're under power. So under the regulations of the sea, an unpowered craft has right of way at all times, and you must either get out of my way or you slow down to make sure that you don't create a bow wake, because the wake of a boat moving forward is enough to put you in the water. So they've got to slow down, and you always carry a whistle with you. Yeah, because if a boat's coming towards you and it's not seen you, you blow the whistle, and then they've got to pay attention. Aye, because I've had problems with the Waverley they know I'm here, they can see I'm here, and then they still don't slow down, even when you blow the whistle. So then if anything happens, Waverley's in trouble. Yeah, that's 100 decibels. So you hear that for a mile away. Plus there's loads of places you can go into rivers, you can go into lakes, you can go into lochs, you can go into the Clyde, you can go into the canal. For quick deployment trips. Yeah, I normally have yeah. You'll be surprised what the camera records everything, records your conversation and anything that happens. So it's live, and I've been live for an hour and a half. So, no, it's normal for a live. A live can be 24 hours. Just depends on your battery strength on your mobile phone. But that's just the way it goes. Whereas a GoPro will probably last about an hour. And depending on your micro SD card, you could get a 15-minute clip, or you can get a half an hour clip or an hour clip per SIM card section. It just depends on the GoPro you've got. One of my GoPros does an hour-long clip at its lowest resolution, and my other GoPro does 15-minute clips at its lowest resolution. Even though the GoPro that does 15 minutes is a better camera than the camera that lasts for an hour. The Deezer camera only does 15-minute clips, whereas a 20-pound camera does over an hour per clip. So you're getting 75% more video for a 20-pound camera to a 400-pound camera. Aye. Yeah, because everything has to be quick. They don't have the younger generation doesn't realise what it takes to make a video. A quick 30-second or 10-minute video is no use. Aye, because you're not going to learn anything in 10 minutes. Some of my videos are an hour long, so you'll see me start a journey, you'll see the entire journey of me going home in that same video. Even though it's an hour long, it takes you on the full adventure, so everything that happens on that one video is what you get. Whereas you won't get that with a 15-minute video. A 15-minute video is a waste of time, unless that's all your camera can do. Because as I said, my GoPro Hero 7 is a 400-pound camera, whereas it does 15 minutes at its lowest power setting at 720p. And my Orbit Trek is a 20-pound camera, and it can do an hour at 720p. So I spent £400 on a camera that only gives me 15 minutes. Yet my 20-pound camera gives me an hour, and they're both set at the same resolution and the same frame rate. Yeah, it's just a difference in length of video. The Deezer camera can only do 15 minutes, that's it. The other camera can do up to an hour per video. Set at the same frame rate and the same resolution, 720p at 30 frames a second, which is ample for any video. You don't need 1080p or 4K, so that just gives you a bigger file size. and more pixels, but it still cuts your time from an hour to 25 minutes. Because I went and I used my 4K camera setting on my Orbitrek, and I lost an hour's worth of recording and only got 25 minutes. And that was at 4K, at its highest resolution possible. So I put it back down to 720p at 30 frames a second, and I get an hour again. And because I'm using a 270 gig memory card, I've got like 50 hours worth of record time for one SIM card. That gives me 50 videos to one SIM card. Yeah. Yep. And if you have a battery pack, you can recharge the battery from the camera while you're using it. So you can use the battery pack's power completely of probably a couple of hours, and then you've still got your original hour length of recording in your camera, because your camera's been fully charged the whole time. So that gives you like 4 hours worth of recording, 3 hours on your battery pack, and then you've got an hour worth on your camera. So that gives you 4 hours instead of 1. You've got to micromanage everything. And when you get 50 subscribers or 50 TikTok followers, you'll probably be doing more lives than you will be with videos. YouTube and TikTok. Yeah. Yeah, 50 followers on TikTok and 50 subscribers, and then you get live. I do live on TikTok and I do live on YouTube. I've got, I think I've got 615 followers on TikTok, and I've got over 200 subscribers on YouTube. Yeah, because you've got to remember, you get the keyboard warriors on TikTok who like to cause a little bit of shit. So you need to have a thick skin to be on TikTok, because you get the arseholes who just come on and start fucking trying to annoy you, and then you get the fucking scammers trying to ask you for game cards, and you're like, if you want a game card so bad, go and fucking buy one. And then they try to hack your account to try and steal your identity because you told them to fuck off. No. Well, I can paddle for over 50 miles in one day. I can paddle from here to Saltcoats and back in one day, and that's like a 16-hour paddle. You're like 8 hours there and you're 8 hours back. And every point on the Clyde, you'll paddle from here to the Erskine Bridge and take a break. You'll paddle from the Erskine Bridge to Bowling Harbour, take a break. You'll paddle from Bowling Harbour to Dumbarton and take a break. You'll paddle from Bowling Harbour to Helensburgh and take a break. You'll paddle from Helensburgh to the fish boat, the sugar boat, and take a break. And then you'll paddle for the sugar boat in the middle of the Clyde to Greenock and take a break. And then you'll go to Largs and take a break. And then from Largs you're down to Ayr and Saltcoats, and that's you at your destination. Oh, hundreds of places you can visit. There's an underground factory behind you. Oh, you've got the sugar boat that's been sank in the middle of the channel for 50 years. You can paddle out to that at low tide and you can fish off it by kayak. Yeah, you get Stirling Castle, you get Edinburgh Castle, you've got the Wallace Monument. Aye. There's loads of places you can visit. It just depends where you want to go and what you want to do. Underneath that bit there is all underground factory from the Second World War. Yes, behind you. Where they're standing, below their feet is the underground factory, which went the whole length of the yard. It's all underground from the Second World War. If you go over to the Titan crane, you can walk on the walkway underneath the crane. And underneath that, behind the wall at the crane, is the underground factory, which is where the grass is on that side. All the buildings on the surface were bombed during the war, but to keep the factory open, they put everything, 50% of the factories underground, and the other 50% is on the surface. But when the college opened, they took away everything on the surface. Everything underground is still here, and you can only access it by boat. Yeah. Underneath your feet there is all underground factory. That there is a ramp. The red nav light is a ramp where the ships used to be launched straight from where the college is sitting. That was a ship launchway, because that was all sheds for building ships during the war. And the only thing that's still there is a ramp. The sheds are all gone because the college is built on top of it. Yeah, the Titan crane is the only crane left in John Brown shipyard. The crane that was sitting in front of the Titan crane, the only thing that's left is the feet of what the crane sat on, right in front of the Titan. That whole part of the yard had 50 cranes on it, the size of the Titan. This yard built the QE2, the Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, all in that bit of the dock. Every single one of these ships were built here at John Brown, and that's the factory you're standing on right now. That's John Brown, and the yard ceased production in 1985 and didn't open again until 2003 when they started building the college, after they took away all the yard from the surface, but everything underground is still here. And the only way you can get to it is to go into the vents, which are they silver grates over there on the walkway. But you need the council's permission to get to there. If you want, you can go round the back by boat, and you can walk up the steps and walk right underneath the Titan crane. Behind the wall of the Titan crane, under that walkway, is the abandoned shipyard. Behind it, which is all underground factory. It's tidal, so you can only access it at low tide, and bring oxygen with you, because there's a lot of chemicals still under there that are toxic. So you'd need to bring diving gear with you just to breathe, because everything underneath the ground is all toxic, all chemicals from the war. I've done videos of it. The Explorer underneath your feet there was done on my channel, where I used my GoPro, my helmet with my bicycle light on the helmet, and I walked right underneath here where you're standing. Underneath there's the crane. It's all on video, and there's a sign before you walk underneath that factory part. You can only access it at low tide, because the tide still goes underneath where your feet are. So if you get stuck under there at high tide, there's a chance you can drown. So you've got a 6-hour window between high and low tide. And if you check my video, it's there, the Underground Explorer. And I've also done fishing videos underneath the Titan crane by boat. You can only access it by boat, and it has to be low tide. Because when the tide comes in, the underground factory floods. And some of the drops inside that factory are 50 feet in height. And if you fall through any of the holes, you're dead. It's a dangerous, dangerous place. And it's right under your feet and you don't even realise it. Because nobody talks about it. But if you look up the history of John Brown, you'll find it. It's just a pain in the arse with the tide. I think that's part of a walkway. That's a walkway. That's just over there. When you walk round to the Titan crane, what's underneath your feet is where I'm walking. And you can only access it by boat. Yeah. Part of the shipyard underground factory that was built during the war. It is water because it's tidal. Because as soon as the tide comes in, the water goes underneath the factory and it floods out the whole length of the yard. There used to be a steel door that ran from that end straight across, and they could pump the water out of that dry dock, and that's where they built ships. So when they finished building the ship, they opened the door and the ship went straight out the door. But they took the door away, so it's all tidal now. That's a dry dock. It used to be a dry dock, but when they took the tidal door away, it became open to the Clyde and the tide. But check up on the history of John Brown's shipyard and you'll find it. From 1900 to 1945 to 1985. Because the yard shut down in 1985. And it was derelict to 2003. And then the college was built from 2003 and it didn't open its doors till 2007. And it's been open ever since. So if you check on my channel, Adventure Guy Simon UK, you'll see all the videos. Just go into the playlists and you'll see them. I've been a paraglider pilot for over 25 years. I've flown all over the world. You can be an inch off the ground or 20,000 feet in the air, travelling at 300 miles an hour. Thermodynamics. Hot air rises, cold air descends. And you need a minimum of 10 miles an hour to launch into wind. My last paragliding flight was Lennoxtown Glen. Be careful where you're standing because that deck's rotten there. Stand next to where my kayak cart is. And be careful of that platform because it moves. It's tidal. That platform moves. So be careful round about it. Because people have lost limbs getting trapped in between the metal when it moves. I've seen it happen. You want to be on the deck, stand where he is, where it's safe, because right now you ain't safe. That whole platform moves. Stand where he is. It's for your own safety. Yeah, may as well get ready to come out of here. Grab the bow and don't let it move. Lie flat in your belly so you don't, right, grab the rope, lie flat in your belly because you're going to fall. Lie flat in your belly. Yeah, it's the joys of inflatable kayaks. They're not the same as rigid kayaks. So you've got to be careful how you get out in them, because an inflatable doesn't operate the same as a rigid, because it moves. Be careful of that hole behind you, because that whole deck there's rotten where you're standing. So go back to where the trolley is. I don't like this bit at all because it's dangerous. Yeah, it's a skeg. It helps you track through the water. Yeah, it's just a seat. Go Outdoors is, I think it's £120 without a discount card. If you've got a discount card, it's like £70 or something. No, no, it's thick. You've got the floor, you get that hull there, you get that hull there, and you get that one there, and then you get the seat itself. So it's not bad. Plus, with the seat in, it helps to keep everything rigid. But hey, been out and playing on my boat. Good fucking stuff. Yep. You can't whack it. takes 5 minutes for the house. And then I just put it in the cart and bring it down. Aye. For quick trips, I use. Aye. Aye, Puff. Aye, enjoy your night. Yeah, it's a long drive anyway. Time to head home for taking to dinner party. Enjoy the rest of your night, guys.